Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. So we're here to help host the manga and anime illustration panel.
Yes. Okay. Hi. Yeah, so I'm Abby from the Office of Study Abroad, and I'll be just helping you like control the if there's any questions that come in through the chat. And then at the end of the presentation that you give, I also have a few slides about programs that we have in Japan.
Hmm.
Um, but I will also give you control so you can share your screen because I believe you have a few slides too, right?
Yeah, we actually have we have a presentation and then we also have like a little video that we want to show along with it.
Let me go ahead and share the screen with you already, just so
All
that you can
right.
start setting up. Are you able to share your screen?
Let's see. Yeah, I think I can. Does this? Yeah.
Okay. There you
All right. Let me put this here then. Oh, can I still? Oh, I can. Okay, let me actually.
Hello. Can you?
Hello.
It's fine. Oh, you can hear me? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
your
Okay.
your mic's all fixed, Virginia.
It's, it's not fixed. It's just I'm just not using. I'm not using my computer. I'm using my laptop. So
Oh, solution.
it's fine. We're good.
Okay. Um.
We'll give it maybe just a few more minutes because yesterday we had some sessions.
Mhm.
Well, there's some students that'll connect like right at like 10:30.
Okay.
I get a few more in a few minutes.
Yeah, I remember like last time we had like people come in like 5 minutes after it hit like 10:30, so it's like it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
It
that
happens.
happens.
Well, we're chilling. How you doing? How was your day so far?
My day is good. I woke up early.
I know you woke up at like 8:30, right?
Well, I mean, I should be waking up at this time, or at least earlier.
I don't know why. It's like when school started, like when classes started, it's like my body just started like waking up at like 8:30 in the morning, like on the dot.
Mhm.
It's so funny.
That internal clock.
Hmm.
Sandra, so you are the president of the club, or
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can go ahead and get started. Um, and then if people start coming in, I'll be watching the waiting room and I'll let them in.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I guess we should start with introducing who we are. We are Japanese Anime Club of CSUF. And today what we have for you is a manga and anime illustration presentation, and we'll also be having a little demo of how to start like a four coma, which we will kind of explain a little later on. So first of all, maybe you have started with getting struck with like a wave of inspiration, and you've suddenly gotten like a whole bunch of ideas, and you want to get straight to making the art of your comic, or making the manga that you really want to, but you're not quite sure where to start. So in this case, let's start talking with about the story. Okay. So, no matter where you're at, you've probably heard before that all stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So, of course, you'll want to start with planning out the beginning. And as much as you might want to do that, before we actually start jumping straight into the story, we actually want to start with the characters. So, we'll go back to the beginning, middle, and end in a little bit. So, firstly, your characters are the ones who drive the story. So one of the biggest things that you'll have to start with is the motivations of your character. From feeling like a little bit peckish and wanting a snack to maybe saving the world from ultimate destruction. Your characters are the ones with the clear motivations to help set up the rest of the story. Now, after you figured out what the main goal of your character is, you'll want to start developing their personality. So, are they smart? Are they stubborn, silly? What are they? Being able to understand who your character or characters are will help when creating the problems of your story and figuring out how your characters will react to them. Now, after figuring out who your characters are and what motivations that will drive them, you can fit in the rest of the story. So you'll start with the beginning of the story and lay out the setting or the world that your character is in, as well as laying out the problem that your protagonist face. Then in the middle, you'll want to show what it takes for your characters to get what they want. You'll want to plan the climax, which is at this point of the story, this is where your protagonist overcomes all odds to succeed. Then in the end, this is where you'll determine how your character returns with their accomplishments and their new life or new normal. So on the right hand side, I put a little diagram of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. This is kind of like the different steps that your character might take in their story. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that every single story will have this. So with shorter stories, like the ones that we'll be doing in the demo, you don't necessarily need to have all these parts laid out. You just need the most important things is the beginning with the setting and problem, the middle with the struggle, the climax, and your protagonist's success, and then the end with the new life and new normal. Okay. So on the next slide, what we have here is a little example of a very short story. This is a 4 or a 4-panel manga, and 4 typically rely on gags or quick jokes to create the story. There are actually others that also display singular events in daily life or for a overarching story. So here in Azumanga Daioh, this is in chapter 1, page 16 of the manga. Yukari is asked to return a dictionary, and her desk is a mess. And this is at this point, this is the goal of the character is to retrieve that dictionary and return it. In Yukari's eyes, the desk is organized because she can navigate it, so she doesn't think that she needs to clean it up, as mentioned by the other character. But once she retrieves the dictionary, all her things move around, and then her whole desk becomes cluttered, and now it's a mess to Yukari because all her stuff isn't placed in the way that she remembers. So she then blames it on the other character, and now Yukari has to clean her desk. So in the story, even though this is a very short story, the characters are still the driving force. You can see their personality be prevalent throughout the story and how they react to the problem, even though the story is very short. So now that we've covered the story, we'll go into actually starting the drawings and all the sketches.
All right, hello. So the most important thing when it comes to drawing is the thumbnail. Usually the first thing you draw isn't going to be the final product because we might like a different idea better. So it's just best to brainstorm and just get the idea down. So you can use sticky notes, a whiteboard and a marker, scratch paper, or anything like that. These drawings aren't meant to be the prettiest thing you've drawn, so you should just use whatever you have lying around. As you're drawing your thumbnails, you should experiment with different perspectives, panels, color, etc. Again, they're not good drawings, you just need to get the general feel of what you want to draw. So on the picture to the right, the artist has drawn their thumbnails small, but they're still readable. And they drew them in a variety of different scenarios. So you can see that they're throwing around ideas and they're redrawing the same panels in different formats. It's also best to mention that you don't have to be good at drawing to tell what looks good. I'll get more into that in a later slide, but it's important to know this, especially since there's this preconceived idea that the artists are like, they're just born with this talent. And it's not a talent. Anyone can tell what drawings look good to them or not. It's just that artists are, they're able to practice their observation skills and then apply them to their drawings. So what's also important to keep in mind while thumbnailing is how easy is it to read. You don't want too many things happening at once. People can only pay attention to one thing at a time, especially when it comes to things like animating or just planning out like a 4 coma if you want to. And when drawing manga, are the main focus of each panel too close to the edge of the paper? If so, it's better to move the object closer to the center of the page due to things like misprints. But that's not really important if you're not really planning on making a physical copy of your manga. But then there's also where you place speech bubbles, and it's always good to leave space for these bubbles or plan them ahead so you don't obstruct your illustration. Oh, okay, so story tip though, if you're using post-it notes or you have a pin board lying around and you're planning a story, you can lay out all your story events and ideas and just plan out the flow. You can take away things, you can add things, just swap places. This is like really great if now that you have the freedom to move these things around and see what works. It's like a little puzzle that you're trying to solve, except you're also the puzzle maker and you're solving your own puzzle. So yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about composition and what looks good. Again, you don't need to be a great artist to be able to tell a story in an interesting way. And we're using Mob Psycho 100 as a reference. So in the image on the left from the art style, it's kind of crude and it looks unpolished. But the story that it's telling is very impactful thanks to the background and the line detailing on their faces. The expressions are very clear despite what looks to be a drawing that's done in less than 5 minutes. But how do you get across the idea of murderous intent in your drawing, you might say? The image on the right is a great example. You can see that these lines over here take up most of the drawing. It's like 3/4 of the paper. It's also larger than the boy on the right, and the sheer power of it kind of lifts him from the floor. These lines are the main focus of the drawing, and it's not the boy on the left, it's these lines. And what's so amazing about it is that they're just lines. They're just drawn up and down. It just goes to show that you don't need to be the best at anatomy or have a stylized art. You just need a good understanding of the technique and it'll get you pretty far. And then eventually your art will catch up along the way.
All right, so since you have your story figured out and have the sketches all nailed down, next comes the little cherry on top, which is inking. And inking can be a pretty daunting task. Some people may see, but inking, a little factoid, is an actual sole job in comics and manga, where someone is tasked with just inking um, other people's sketches and drawings. Uh, and that's pretty cool. For a traditional drawing, the essentials can be anything from like a pencil and a regular ballpoint pen, even a Sharpie. I wouldn't recommend a Sharpie, but you could use pretty much anything to ink your work. It's up to you. And I put Crayola and slash Rose can be your best friend because honestly, some tools, like some people believe like the most expensive tools can be the best. But that's not true. At least I don't believe so because I have some cheap pens in my backpack that are my favorite pens and they're really good for inking. So just experiment, have fun, on a separate piece of paper, not your sketch work. but and just test it out and see how you feel. And for digital drawing, it's the same thing because there is a free program called Fire Alpaca that is really good just to experiment with a digital drawing program if you're like too scared or apprehensive about drawing digitally because it's free and you don't really take any risks from it except just taking up space on your computer. And just as a slight tip, this can be for both traditional and digital of don't zoom too close into your drawing as you're inking. Like, don't try to get that perfect line and, just do like little chicken scratches along because you'll zoom out later and it'll look really messy and it just won't look too good. It's also really bad for your eyes and back if you do that. And just take a step back from work if you're a little stuck about, like what tones to use, or if you should put line weights on your drawings and like overthink it. Just take a step back, go on a walk for like 30 minutes, and come back with like some fresh eyes. And just to reiterate, like just go for it and have fun. Like this isn't going to be your master work, and no one's going to look at your work as a whole and go, man, that doesn't look too good. So just have fun. Do it for you and not for other people's pleasure. Just, this is for you. Okay. And from inking, you could also upgrade to tones and shading. Um, Screen tones, they're kind of pricey in the traditional sense. I looked it up on Amazon. It's up to like $30. So you don't have to use that. You could use, again, like cheap markers that are black and white to imitate the feel of it. Or, you can even print them out and cut them out yourself. It may not act the same as a regular screen tone, but you get the feel of it for cheaper. And on digital applications like Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint, they have screen tone features that you can use that are pretty nifty. And again, it could be imitating the feel, and you can get a more, quote unquote, official look in your manga / comic that you are making. And for manga and comic books, there are assistants tasked with cutting in screen tones. So just like someone who is tasked with inking the work, there is another person tasked with the screen tones. And usually they mark little spots of like which screen tone to use and all that stuff. So, if, like down the line in the future, if you're ever looking to work in comics, these are some jobs for you. That's pretty cool. And shading, if you're going for that in your comic, you do not have to, but figure out your light source ahead of time so that, in each panel, the light source doesn't like move around of like, it was on the right side and now it's on the left. So just figure that, draw like a little, for myself, I draw like a little lamp shade off to the side on the corner to show like, yes, there's a lamp on this side. And you can even go crazy and get creative with colors for the mood and emotion. Use a little bit of red to show danger, or green to get a little apprehensive, scary, or show sickness. But that's if, you're feeling up for it. You could keep black and white, and that's just as fine because you can get just like the same impact and emotions through that. Colors can just be for fun, just like this is. And some examples of my personal favorite line work is from My Hero Academia, Genkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun, or monthly shoujo Nozaki-kun, and of course Death Note. Like all of these have different styles, line weights, and just ways to ink their work, and especially screen tones as well. Like for My Hero Academia, he has a more rough, blocky way of inking, but it works for his style, and he really shows the impact in his work, especially with the screen tones added that just add that, that nice touch. And for Genkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun, it's a 4 which we are looking for today, and it has a more clean and simple way to ink the work and get the story across. And it also adds a little flavor with the screen tones. We're like getting more intense throughout the 4, especially at the end, with the lines to show seriousness and shocking. And Death Note, you could even look up more of their work because the artist for that manga is insane with their line work because they go in immense detail, which you do not have to do, and some people end up getting caught in the details and taking too long. But here's just one example of just going into immense detail with your line work, and especially screen tones, because they're showing not only the shading but the impact of L revealing his identity to Light. Oh my god, shocking. And it's just all 3 of these have different ways of telling their story through their line work and their screen tones, and it fits for their story. And again, just to reiterate, you don't have to get so caught up with like, oh, I have to figure out a style or do what they're doing. This is just meant for you, and these examples are just to show you like what you could do, where you could go with this. And yeah, that's pretty interesting.
All right, so now that you've kind of like established everything about the story, found out about what inking is and all the screen toning, the final step of your manga or illustration before releasing it into the wild is to add the final touches. Excuse me. This would include the embellishments, the cleanup, and then putting it all together. So the embellishments would include things like adding a spotlight to your character's eyes or adding, excuse me, dialogue bubbles to convey the tone of the conversation. Sorry. So a useful tool to have, not just for the embellishments, but also for the cleanup, is the white gel pen or maybe some correction fluid. In digital medium, this would be the same as using the eraser tool or a brush with white color. In the cleanup, you'll go back in and make sure that all the lines are clear. If there's any pencil marks from your sketches, just doing an overall double check of your quality. And then lastly, along with the cleanup, you'll want to start putting the pages of your manga together. Now, there's many ways to go about this. Traditionally, you'll want to scan with a scanner after all the ink is dry. You can also like take a picture and then go back in with like the editing in where you took your picture and change the contrast. So there's many different ways. So there are also a lot of different cost-effective apps that you could use to take the pictures with. And then after scanning, you'll want to go in with maybe like a paint software or another illustration software to clean up the scan. If you don't have it, this is not necessarily needed, but it's nice to be able to go in and just make it look all pristine. Like if your scanner picked up some dust, or if the scan, or if it didn't scan it properly, et cetera, et cetera. So then afterwards, you'll want to save them as a PNG, or you could save all of them as a quote unquote one chapter as a PDF file. Those are the 2 files that are typically used to save your manga pages. All right. So here, we want to show you kind of examples of the practice in like the industry. So usually, mangaka or like the artists of mangas have teams that work on it, as we explained before, through the inking and the screen toning. So here we want to show like kind of an example through Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun in this one episode. So let me see if I can actually share it. All right. All right, can you all see the video?
Yes.
All right, cool. So start here.
ですが、これで絵の得意分野がわかりますね。さあ、それでは皆さんいいですか？フリップをどうぞ。
ねえねえ、これやってみない？
別にいいけど。あ
あ、じゃあ犬。人物。建物。
苦手なんだ。
私も苦手で。
実は俺も。
って三越島くん全滅だよ。
うるせえ、これだけ見て言うな。まあまあ、三越島の得意分野はそういうんじゃないんだ。
だって
やってみた方が早いかもな。まず俺が人を描く。次にさくら。
はい。ベタ終わりました。
最後三越島。終わったぜ。すごいよ
三越島くん。
All right, so yeah, as you've seen through that little video that we had there of Nozaki-kun, Nozaki-kun, who is the mangaka of his own manga, starts off with drawing the character, the main ideas of the story, and then Sakura comes in with inking with the character, and then later on, the third character comes in and adds in all the embellishments and technically it would also be including the screen toning, but he draws it in by hand. Right. This is also another example of another 4 that you could see. This is one of our favorites called Wonder Cat Q-chan. These are actually the first 3 chapters of the manga. So this is just another example of a 4, also showing that they could also be in color too, so they don't have to be just in black and white. All right, so now we will go into our little 4 demo. Actually, can Emily be able to share her screen?
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
All right. Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay.
Stop sharing. Yay.
All right. Sorry, I had to find the unmute button because I couldn't find it. All right. So here is a sketch of our four coma story so far. You may be wondering where the 4th part is. Well, lucky for you, that is where the audience gets to choose like where the story takes a turn. We have 2 options. And I'm gonna do a magic trick really quick. Hopefully I remember which layer it is. But it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna ink this in 1 second. Oh! Like what? How did I do that? Who knows? I'm kidding. I inked this beforehand just because the demo would go on for a bit longer if I inked the whole thing right now. So So here's the preliminary sketch. I'm figuring out like what I want the character to do in the first. Oh, and by the way, this is our mascot for Japanese Anime Club. His name is Kohai. He's very adorable and has floofy hair, at least in my eyes. And in the first panel, he is just getting ready for bed, brushing his teeth. He's very tired. It's been a long day at the Anime Club. And he opens the little mirror cabinet that's above his sink, looks through it, gets what he wants. Actually, no, he puts away his toothpaste. He puts away the toothpaste. He closes the window. And what's that in the corner of the window? Who knows? And then, whoo, back to inking. So I'm going to take away the sketch just so you can see. I may have forgotten the borders. So in this moment, you're going to see some inking in action with my favorite pen. See, this is the fun with digital drawing, because you can make a mistake, but it's not the end of the world, as long as it's not on the same layer. Because if I ink this on the same layer, oh boy, that'd be some sad stuff, guys.
So actually, Emily, while you're inking, I kind of want to give Abigail some space to talk about the Japan programs that the study abroad is actually providing.
Do it. Sorry.
Awesome, thank you. I do have some slides to share, so is it okay, Emily?
Yes, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to draw these borders. So.
And then we can go back to you at the end. Awesome.
No problem.
Where am I? Oh, no. Sorry, I have to grab. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Can you see the screen?
Not quite yet.
Okay. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you could see it now, right? Okay. Hi, yeah, so through the Office of Study Abroad, we wanted to take this chance just to let you know that we offer a few programs in Japan. And there's quite a few options for you. Here's the overall list of programs, and I'll go over each one pretty quickly. The first one is CSUIP Japan University of Tsukuba. Sorry, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. But as you can see on the slide, these are the areas of study. This is an academic year or spring semester program. The location is Tokyo, Japan. These are the requirements. So just a heads up, for our programs, you have many options where you could go abroad for a short time or a longer period. And that's the beauty of all this, that we even have students sometimes extend like 2 years, but here's another program, CSUIP Japan, Waseda University. CSUIP programs are actually open to all of our students that attend any CSU. And this is a year program. So these are the majors it's open to. The term would be a full academic year. So for this program, you are getting 12 units. The location is Tokyo, Japan. These are the program requirements. So that's another year program for you. And then we do have an exchange with Nanzan University. The area of study is Japanese, and we do have options where you could go for a full year or just a spring semester or fall semester. Again, these are the requirements and the location. When it comes to more of the specifics of how to apply to these programs, you could also set up an online appointment with our study abroad advisors, because I know we say program requirements and it's a short list, but you do have to complete the applications, and that has its own requirements in itself. We have the CSUF exchange in Okayama University, also to study Japanese. This could be either a spring semester program or an academic year program. And then we have another exchange in Seijo University, a few more other areas of study: communications, Japanese, English, economics, psychology, sociology. This is also either a full year or a fall semester option, located in Tokyo. And we have one more exchange in Sophia University, offers quite a few areas of study. This is also a year option or a spring semester. It's located in Tokyo as well. And yeah, so those are just a really quick overview. We do have info sessions that you could attend as well virtually. So if you want to learn more about the overall options we have for study abroad. But like I said, if you already know you want to do one of these specific programs, you could actually set up an online advising appointment with our study abroad advisors, and they can give you full details on that specific program. Okay, so Emily, back to you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got entranced. I'm interested in the programs. All right.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
It looks really cool. I mean, Sophia, just because I'm like, oh, art major, you say? All right. So I'm gonna keep this a little short. So for the people in the chat, would you mind choosing either option 1 or 2? Sorry, I only drew 2 options. So please just type in the chat if you want option 1 or 2, just so that I personally know. Or can someone tell me, because I can't see the chat?
I'm looking at the chat for you. So far, no one.
We got a 1.
Oh! All right. Okay, since I gotta keep this short, we're already gonna go option 1. Sorry for people in the chat. And first, we're gonna show the sketch. What is this? And you can see that I'm figuring out like what the hand's doing, because I messed up before, and his hand was really messed up. And you can use yourself as reference, which I did, and you can see because the lines are really thick. Like just so you know. All right, and I'm gonna ink it in 1 second. Whoop! And I changed it a little. I forgot to draw the borders again. Okay, I'm gonna do that in my own time. Just imagine there's borders there. But what does he see in the mirror? Oh, I gotta zoom in. Whoop! You should have invested in GameStop stocks. And it's his future self, if you can't tell, because his hair is a bit neater. Because I may have projected on him that his hair is big floof when he wakes up. So, ooh, spooky. See, sketch, ink, sketch. See, his face is totally different. And I was like, it'd be a bit funner if his face is like this. But look, the hands. All right. So, I mean, I hope you guys liked the demo. That was, fun inking sesh. But before I go, I use Clip Studio Paint, and it's a pretty fun program. They have a 6-month free trial, and you could even get, when you get like a Wacom tablet, they give you the program for free, like with it. And I was like, ooh, nice. And it's a really fun program. You can download free brushes and pens, like this pen, for example. This pen is like my favorite pen. It's so good for inking, okay? It is so fun. This is my sketch pencil because it just is nice. It's very fun. And okay, since I'm feeling generous, we're gonna see option 2 as sketches. What? It's our other mascot senpai in what looks to be a face mask. And I'm gonna ink it in 1 second. Whoop. Okay, I didn't feel like drawing borders, it seems. So look, and she's wearing like a little bear headband. Because aren't those cute? Okay, so that is it for my little demo. I know it was very short and sweet, but We obviously just would not have time to fully draw this out. Maybe someday. Yeah, so mascots.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
If you got any questions, just shoot them in the chat.
Yeah, so that's basically all that we have for our little 4 presentation. Thanks again to the study abroad team to let us present this, and also having them present opportunities of studying abroad in Japan as well.
Thank you, Sandra, Emily, Virginia. Thank you, everyone, for attending. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them out in the chat or go ahead and turn on your microphone. I also wanted to let you know that we will have these recordings available for you on our website in a few days, so you could go back and access all this awesome information.
Actually, if you don't mind, is it okay if we explain a little bit more about JAC?
Yeah, of course, yes.
All right. So if you don't know who we are, you popped in like the middle of the presentation. We are JAC, which is Japanese Anime Club of CSUF. With JAC, we provide a space for those who are interested in Japanese pop culture. So things like games, card games, video games, anime, manga. And each week we have a meeting on Thursdays. So we have one tomorrow, and our theme for tomorrow is actually Valentine's Day. So if you want to spread the love, we're going to be having a Valentine's Day theme meeting tomorrow. But not only do we have weekly meetings, we also actually have another expo that we're actually hosting our own, which is called Fullerton Connect Expo. That's happening on February 15th from 1 to 5 p.m. And it's going to be featuring actually 12 special interest clubs from CSUF in different panels that they all created on their own, as well as a League of Legends tournament. And there's going to be a bunch of social games on a Discord server that we're also going to be hosting. And then we also host our own little casual mini tournaments through Battle of the Clubs, where you'll be able to play video games from free to play to things like FPS, like Overwatch, against different students from other clubs. So you get to meet a whole bunch of people. So if you're interested in finding out more about who we are, I can actually put in all our social media in the chat as well. But again, thank you to Abigail and all the people at the Study Abroad team for letting us come in and present all of this.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a great day.